Hello and welcome back to this best of three series between Crimson and Darksided in the Season 4 HDC qualifiers for A and Z. I am GL Phoenix. Here with me still is Blank. And now on to Towers of Doom.
That's right. We did see Crimson take a fantastic, good first game against Darksided on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Towers of Doom, again with the Chromie first ban, that respect ban for Hacky.
Yeah, and I'm starting to think whether or not, that's what I was thinking, whether or not they respect ban
Yeah.
in kind. Taking that garage, it was a real thorn in the side of Darksided, so they do not want to allow that to go through again, and this has left open quite a lot of other higher priority things on the board.
What other things can be picked up here? We've got a lot of global presence that is normally taken on Towers of Doom with Zahaka, Falstad. Those are high priority picks on this map. As well as you have seen in the past a lot of pushing pressure with maybe a Zagara or a Zul again, depending on how they want to play it. They have picked up the Anubarak though. Solid first pick.
Yeah, very very well rounded. I believe he's not necessarily as top tier as he was, say, a couple of months ago. He has taken a few hits since then, but he's still a very solid pick. But that Rhaegar and the Greyman going over to the side of Darkseid, so they were both on the side of Crimson in the previous game, and now Darkseid want to try it for themselves.
You're right. They're swapping drafts here, Greymane and Rhaegar. Both solid picks though, so not unexpected to say the least. But this does give the next two picks over to that of Crimson Esports. Any thoughts on what they might be?
Well,
Jill?
there's the Tacita is still available. I believe that was what we saw banned by Darkseid in the previous game. So
Yes.
that's an option that Crimson can go towards, as the Mouth AL is going to be picked up, so they have that very stable and, to be honest, quite dominant solo laner coming for the side of Crimson.
But Malfurion as the healer of choice. Again, he has taken a few hits. He's lost his cleanse. Twilight Dream's still a significant game changer in team fights. But is he going to be a solo healer?
Yeah, that's going to be the real question. I mean, if they do only go a single solo healer with a Malfurion, they are going to be missing out on a decent amount of utility. I mean, sure, Malfurion brings a fair amount, but his healing is somewhat limited. And as you mentioned, the double support could really help out in that regard. But if they do go double support, what's the damage going to be? They need something really, essentially, hyper scaling to really keep up with what Darkseid might be putting up.
Possibly a Tyrande to give them that vulnerable, gives them a little bit more damage output. It looks like they are building a rather sustaining comp on the side of Crimson there. That while we've been talking on the side of Darksided, we've had Gul'dan banned out. We saw that picked up by Crimson in the first game, and it looks like they have banned the Abathur.
Yeah, well, looking at the two that Darkseid have already picked up, the Abathur would facilitate that quite well, and also this is one of those maps where Abathur can get a decent amount of work done because of the size of the map and also the way the rotations work, and he could really get a lot of value not only on the map but also in the potential composition that Darkseid have. So not too surprised to see that get taken away by Crimson, but now to see what they end up going with. We saw the Tyrael come out of Crimson in the last match. Do you think that that could be a potential pickup on the side of Darkseid?
I don't say it couldn't be a potential pickup on the side of Darksided. I mean, we've already seen them take the Greymane and the Rhaegar. Well, Tyrael worked for Crimson last game. Why not take that as well? I do know that Rob plays a fantastic Muradin, so we could see the Muradin picked up. Arthas is still available. We have ETC and Li Ming, two picks that I probably wouldn't have guessed for this lineup here.
Well, ETC has gone up quite a bit in priority over the past couple of weeks. He still has a lot of control and can do a decent amount of work in these fights. And the Li Ming, very strong follow-up to any kind of CC. And also, going up against that Anubarak, once that Cocoon starts coming out, the disintegration from Li Ming will be able to shred that and kind of make that a bit of a null and void heroic. But now we're coming into the end of the draft. As you were saying at the top of the draft, Globals have a decent amount of priority, but it took all the way until the end of the draft to restart to see them. Falstad on the side of Crimson, whereas the Dahaka is on the side for Darksided.
Another thing to pick up on is the Tychus pickup. We've got Malthael and Tychus now, absolute tank shredders, and Darksided have gone with ETC and now Dahaka with the double tank. Are they going to get a lot of value, or is it just over expecting things, especially with a Malfurion solo healer?
Well, there's also the thing with the Tychus coming in, and he can do a decent amount of damage, not just on tanks, but also
No, you're right.
if that ETC is going to go in, there's a very easy grenade coming out of Tychus to interrupt any potential mosh pit. So they do have a couple of tools to try and push that away. They also have Mighty Gust. They also have a lot of the control from Anub'arak with the Impale. So they have some tools to deal with any potential mosh pits, but both sides, they have their very rather considerable strengths and weaknesses. We're very interested to see how this goes as we get on into this game. This is game 2 between Crimson and Darksided. It is already 1-up for Crimson, and they are on the blue side. It is Ultivian on Falstad, Azure on Tychus, Jesmez on Malthael, Leica on Anub'arak, and the Shadow is on Malfurion.
And on the red side, we have Darksided with the Myers playing Li Ming, Hacky on the Greymane, Moops playing Rhaegar, Robbie Dobby on ETC, and Sashin on Dahaka.
Alrighty.
We've seen the Dahaka pick up the agility talent here. I've normally seen, I suppose, in a double tank role, agility is good. There are a lot of brushes to get that agility value out. Help him chase, help him escape.
Ultivian taking a lot of damage, and he got wiped off the face of the planet.
Absolutely destroyed. I'm unsure as to what Crimson are doing down here.
They're
looking for a bush gank?
Yeah, they're trying to get a pick off in rotation, but Leica is just sticking there. He just made his home there in that bush. As you're getting a rather awkward rotation down as the Shadow gets locked down. He's going to fall as well, and a very incredibly aggressive start coming out of Darkside. Already 2 kills.
Yes, it was almost 3 as well there with Azure taking a lot of damage there on the... Sorry. Luckily, the Leica on Anub got in there and stopped a lot of that from eventuating.
Yeah, already we have a very strong push coming down on the bottom side for Darkseid. Try to take down some of those early towers, get that early experience in under their belt, and already we have a 1-level lead for the red team, and it's a pretty good start for them as there's not really much of a response coming out of Crimson just yet.
No, they did lead Jesmez solo top lane, pushing in a bit, but with the Harker on the side, they just brush stalked straight up there to catch that soak before it was all gone. So they didn't lose anything. Mid lane was picked up really quickly with Ultivian on Falstad. Rob's seeing the push there now, just waiting, soaking the XP, looking for his opportunity.
I believe he's probably waiting for someone to rotate up to help him kill him, but no one is going to be there with him, so he just slides in, does a decent amount of damage to Ultivian as the first altars are going to be activating. Both of the camps on the bottom side have been taken, and it looks like we're starting to get some rotation. The early rotation does go to Crimson on the bottom side, but we'll have to see how the rest of the team rotates as we get the first altars activating. Well, we do have Darkseid already on the altar. They are going to capture it without too much of a contest as...
Yeah, they managed to get 2 for 1 in the altar phase there. I did expect that perhaps Malthael or Falstad would have gone over to try to stall out that second altar, having their global hero on Darksided soloing that one, knowing that all 4 other members of Darksided were at the bottom lane.
Yeah, could have potentially dragged that out a little bit longer as Moops dives in onto Leica, as we do have the fly in coming in from Ultivian. As the lockdown onto Moops, he is going to go down as we don't actually have the trade coming in, so it's just going to be a clean kill coming up for Crimson, but we'll have to see if that gets punished around the map as we have had Jesmez come towards the mid lane, but that is allowing Sashin to just clear these waves to just keep on applying pressure as... Yeah, it was a nice pickup, but what are they going to be losing elsewhere on the map?
Well, Malthael did manage to get up there to grab most of that wave Sashin pushed in.
Robodover in the mid lane gets caught out. He does get interrupted from his power slide. That's going to be a nice little pickup there as we are starting to see some nice rotations coming out from Crimson. They're getting some of these kills, but let's see if they can translate into anything more, as they do go for a very aggressive invade, and Darksided have to back their way out. They don't have the numbers, so they are going to very respectfully back away from this one.
Crimson are looking really hungry and playing really aggressively and strong, the same as last game. It's impressive, to say the least.
Yeah, they're really showing it to Darksided, not wanting to let the standard just continue being the standard throughout this season and just let it be No Moon Darkseid at the top. But we do have a nice bow charge onto Moves. He is going to go very low, doesn't have the sustain. He is going to get brought back and goes down in the perfect time, as these altars are going to be spawning. As Demise takes a lot of damage coming out of Azuras. You have Robodoba coming in, slides in. They do get the brilliant lockdown into a Nubarak, so maybe they have the chance to turn this around. The first
There is that possibility. I mean, they're solo tank a noob, so now Crimson have no tank. Altivian's gotten really low here. We have Greymane, massive tongue coming out from Sashin.
They can keep this fight going. Robodoba is going very low. A lot of damage coming out from Desmez and Azuras. These two tanks are kind of getting shredded by the two tank shredders. Who would have thought? As Demise is going to start working towards that altar.
Funny that.
Yeah.
We do have Falstad about to respawn. He does have fly available, so he can come in to help out as quickly as possible. It looks like we might
taking a lot of damage. Oh, great healing coming out of Robodoba. Moves with the heals, and they turn it around onto Malthael. He goes down. And here comes the Falstad in with that fly, but he's in a very precarious position.
Very
he takes a lot of damage
fly
right off the bat, and he falls incredibly quickly, as the ultra on the top side was already taken, and he's actually going to be at the bottom one as well. And it seemed like Crimson bit off a little bit more than they could chew there.
Yeah, I knew that Falstad would fly in to help out, but that was a rather aggressive fly in from him.
Yeah, that was
they're going to pick up this bottom fort for free here. Sashin able to just rotate up as per Dahaka's standard and clear out those lanes, get a bit of push going.
Yeah, and it was a reasonably strong start from Crimson. They were able to come back after losing those first two deaths, but as we're getting into this game, Darksided are just turning up the pressure. They're turning up the map-wide play. They've hit heroics, and they have a full level of opportunity to work with to try and just keep on applying this pressure onto Crimson.
Yeah, in the meantime, we do have Crimson down the bottom here, just trying to deal with this camp. I don't want to let those... But having no 10, no ultimates, and the threat of a mosh pit, they don't want to overstay their welcome here and might just let one of these shots go.
Yeah, they'd be very careful with how they play his defense. Robo has to be also careful that he doesn't try and get over-aggressive with any kind of mosh pit play. Don't want to be sliding into that death zone, but it is going to be one shot at least flying into the base, as we do have yet another Sapper camp being pushed in. But on the top side, Sashin is just diffusing a lot of this pressure coming out of Crimson, and they're just going to have to back off from that play.
That's a massive win for Darksided there. They had 3 of Crimson trying to push in top, and Sashin solo Dahaka was able to stall them off, while the rest of Darksided pushed in 4 sappers to get 4 shots on Crimson's core.
Yeah, and now this next altar is coming up. They have 5 shots to work with, and it's very hard for Crimson to get any kind of position to contest. They are not going to get there in time. They're not even going to be able to take down that bell tower in time, so that's another 5 shots going over to the core of Crimson.
From the start of the game to 2 minutes later, we've seen a massive shift in power. Crimson coming out strong to begin with there, and then switching play straight over to Darkseid, as you'd expect. Darkseid looking to pick up the boss here. I believe that Crimson will know about it, but they won't be able to get there in time to stop.
Yeah, they had an idea of its occurrence, but as you mentioned, it's a little bit too late. As Lucky goes burrow charging in, but he does get the cocoon, as there we go, the Disintegrate just demolishes that immediately as the fight is going on. The Tormented Souls is amongst them all, as a nice Mighty Guts does just cram them onto a wall. It's a great fight coming out. The Ancestral gets completely diffused by the anti-heal coming out of the Malthael, and brilliant fight coming out for Crimson.
And there's the power play back into Crimson's favor. A 3-for-0 trade And now they can just push in that top lane,
Yeah, this
pick
should
up
be his
that
bell
keep,
tower.
and potentially get a Merc camp to push over.
Yeah, well, throughout all of this, well, this bell tower is going down no matter what, but Sargent on the bottom side is trying to get something out of this. He's putting, trying to put as much pressure as he can to get at least something on the map as that bell tower on the top side does finally go down as we do finally have Darksided respawning. They will be able to clean this up without too much problem, but they will have that mercenary camp to deal with. They probably will have to give up this altar though.
Yeah, it looks like they will have to go with this altar to trade for the shots. They will get the keep down in time. Perhaps Sashin can stall them long enough for the rest of their team to get there, but I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, already we do have Crimson on the bottom side, already in position as the fly coming in from Altivian, and there's no one even close to the vicinity of this altar, and that is going to be just another 4 shots going over to the core of Darksider, but already there's a massive buffer that Darksider have when it comes to core health, and they're okay. They can give up a
They can
an
give up
altar
a
or
couple of
two.
shots, yeah.
Yeah, they're in a reasonable position. They're equal on talent tiers, they're equal on levels, but they're well ahead when it comes to the core, so they can afford to be a little bit more conservative with their approaches. We do have 2 Sepicans pushing on the bottom side, but Darkside are here to try and defend. A lot of damage going down onto that bell tower. Just a little bit more. Those beetles.
Oh, they're not going to get it.
Oh, Sergeant coming in with the race card. Not able to get any tongue drag. He will have to back away as the Thor is
Oh,
being
we've
popped.
seen Thor popped.
Yeah, it looks
Odin.
they want to siege down that bell tower. There's not much left of it to stand as they just walk in, just throw a few abilities at it. That is going to be that bell tower done, and well, it didn't look
Is
like
that
they were going to be able to get
potentially
too
a
much
waste
out
of
of
an
it.
ultimate?
Yeah, they weren't able to get too
They've-
much out of the heroic, but I guess it did force Darksider back, and this will allow them to have the proactivity on the map to potentially get a play happening, as they seem to want to defend this bell tower.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what they're going to gain from defending a bell tower, apart from possibly just stalling out them taking it back and getting enough time to secure themselves another bell tower when they do respawn. Or we have a
great
massive
gust.
play here with Falstad.
Yeah, gets the guards. The Tormented Souls was popped as well. The Cocoon is actually not getting too much value, as in comes the Ruststalker from Sergeant. So we have all 5 members here. That was pretty much all heroics used on the side of Crimson for no avail, as they do still hold on to this bell tower just as 3 altars are spawning. So this could potentially be a massive swing in core health if things stay the way on this bottom side of the map.
Well, them overstaying there doesn't give them any value in terms of the towers. They've got Sashin up top playing around with Falstad 1v1. They're just going to play chicken up on those top 2 towers. They're probably going to trade out 1 for 1, while the rest of Darksider are going to push in here and try to start a play.
They want to get that fight going. They have the flight coming in from Farsight. As the mosh pit goes in, and he does a lot of damage. The Farsight is down immediately. A great Twilight Dreams does hit 3 members of Darksider. They're so low, the Ancestral doesn't come out, and that's going to be 2 down for
Oh, it's a
Darksider.
nice
Oh, the bell
shot
tower was
off
still
the
in
tower.
favor of Crimson, and that's going to be a 4th, and there's absolutely nothing that Sasha can do but run away. And this is going to be another 5 shots going over to Crimson, and they are still in this, and they even have the experience and talent tier advantage right now.
They do, and right now I'd like to see them push up to that mid lane, take that mid tower, and then rotate to the top lane and secure all 4 towers while the enemy team is down. They're not doing that. They're looking to grab the camp, leaving like a mid to soak that wave. No real push being done, and it looks like they're trying to escort these mercs over the core.
Yeah, just going for more assured control of the bottom side rather than trying to just keep on playing the run around the map kind of game, just try and keep them on the back foot. But by pushing in these 2 camps on the bottom side, this does give a lot of room for Crimson to take this boss, and that's going to be yet another 4 shots, and we're starting to get into the very nitty-gritty of this game. Very close on the core health. It's going to be 12 on the side of Crimson, 14 on Darkseid, and They're in a very precarious position as, oh, a nice lockdown onto the Dahaka. He does not have nearly enough to stay alive. He falls and, oh, it seems like the nerves are starting to show for Darksided, as they are just going to be trading bell towers.
Yep, they are going to trade bell towers. So they have Darksided has taken the bottom bell tower. 2 Merc camps spawning in less than a minute on the bottom half of the map, which can be walked over for Darksided now. The bell towers both spawning top.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate there for Darksided. They have a little bit less room to work with. They can only really come in from the bottom side, and have to be very careful with that top wave. That Sapper camp has been captured and will be starting to push in, as we do actually have the Dahaka is up now, and he'll be able to brush stalk in, and there's a lot of avenues for him to come in at this point in the map, as looks like we want Darksided are okay to give up the far altar, trying to get their own, as we do have them trying to come in for the engage, as the flight behind. There's a nice motion onto 3 members that's locked down all the valuable targets as Moops takes a lot of damage. He's not able to get anything out of that as the Cocoon locked down the ETCs. The fight is going very well in favor of Crimson. They're trying to lock down Robodoba as he comes out of the Cocoon. He does slide his way through. He's taking so much damage. Sergeant and Demise, they are quite low. Malthus is actually going to fall. So a nice little pick up there for Hacky. He's going to be able to keep the rest of the team in it, but with the healer down, they have to be very careful with how they play these fighters. The roots do go down onto Robodoba. Does he have, I do believe he has
Demise getting really low there, and no healer on the enemy team, on the Darksided team.
They do have Progrock onto Robodoba to help out just a little bit, but it's not going to be enough. Dahaka goes down through the grenade coming out of Azure. Hacky taking a lot of damage, gets locked down by Leica. There's a lot of damage coming out of Altivian. The nice teleport comes in from Demise. They do clean up one, but they end up trading yet again. The altar did, I believe, go over to Crimson.
Yes, so it did, and while they were team fighting, all 3 sappers did also walk over the core, Geo, leaving only 3 shots left.
Very, very risky proposition now for Darksided. I do believe they managed to make a rather risky comeback in one of their Towers of Dooms games early in the season, but Robot takes so much damage. Power slides out at the last second as they do get a lot of damage down onto Leica as a nice teleport comes out. They do manage to clamp that Unubarak, so they have a lot of pressure on the bottom side of the map. And it's not over yet. I mean, sure, it's very, very little room for error now on Darksided. They have to be very careful with how they play out the rest of this game, but as long as you have at least 1 HP on your core, you're still in this game, Blank.
That is 100% right. All you need is 1 HP on the core, and you can always win. Right now we see Darksided pushing in that mid fort, trying to get as much pressure on the map as possible, while Dahaka and Greymane head up to take that top keep as well. I believe the rest of them are just going to rotate up and clear out that top keep on the side of Crimson, while Crimson are trying desperately to take this back before they lose all of their keeps and start getting shots directly onto their core.
Yeah, it's that game of ring around the rosy. Essentially, is like, we take one, you have to respond. We take the other, you have to keep on responding. And it's just a game of catch up that Crimson are having to play right now. Is a lot of pressure coming down on the top side for Darksided. They want to take this bell tower, as they will now have. They will continue to hold on to the advantage in bell towers, as we have 2 altars spawning on the bottom side of the map, and have to see if Crimson do potentially give up one of these altars just to try and take back this bell tower, but could just be a little bit too late at that point.
They don't need to. They don't need to. They've got 3 shots from any of these.
The flight in from Altivian gets a nice Mighty Gust, but not able to get anything out of it, as he gets demolished immediately. A great Disintegrate destroys that Cocoon, as Demise is going to fall. There's too much pressure coming out from Leica and Jesmes, but the fight is not going to go in favor of Crimson. They do lose their frontliner in that Malthus. Good. Twilight locks down the frontline as Moops is going to end up falling. He takes too much damage. Azure is doing a lot of work on this. Tyke is just shredding this frontline as Hacky is trying to take him down. He does end up taking him down. They do end up trading. There's only 1 left for Crimson. As there's 2 left. They actually end up winning that fight.
They did, Gio. Darksided, both tanks survived, everyone else falling, and on the side of Crimson, all that's left is poor Malfurion. They're going to pick up both of these towers.
And go for an end. If they have enough, if they can force away the shadow, they could potentially take a whole bunch of camps and push down, because both sides, they're down to just the most slivers of health on their core. The boss is now up.
That is a win condition,
Oh!
They could get the boss. They could push in bottom and get the bottom camps. They could easily get the top camp and walk it across. There's so many options.
Oh, there are so many avenues for which both teams can work to try and finish this, but it's very risky for Darkseid. Yeah, the boss can be an option, but the tools on the side of Crimson to try and steal that, there's the Mighty Guts. They have Cocoon to lock down a single target, and just the sheer amount of damage coming out of that lineup. This is going to end with a bang. Either Crimson take it and they end this series 2-0, or Darksided start their comeback. I mean, it's been a very rough and tumble kind of game as we see both teams, they recognize this boss is going to be the target. Oh, he takes so much to hug it. He's going to be able to stay alive as the Ancestral does come out, but it's not nearly enough as the anti-healing is doing a lot of work. Haki takes a lot of damage on the bottom side as they are going to keep this fight going. A lot of they managed to take down the That's an incredible pickup for Crimson.
And they're going straight for the boss. They're leaving it open to a mosh pit here.
But they do have the Mighty Guts. They can still work with that. The roots go down. They completely get rid of that. You see, the mosh pit is going to come out. They do a lot of work. They locks down 4 members as Haki's coming through, but they don't have nearly enough. The fight is going to go over to Crimson. They are going to take the fight. They take the boss and they take the series.
And GL take this.
They take the series.
Holy shit, GL. Crimson win the series 2-0 against Darksided.
Oh my god. We were kind of expecting that it was going to be just Darkseid Nome in that upper bracket, as per usual, as we've been seeing all season long. But Crimson, my god, they turned up this series and they really took it. And Azure doing so much work in games both 1 and 2. Holy shit. What a series coming out of them.
Oh, wow. I was not expecting that. We saw Crimson pulling up really strong in the first game. We saw them come out with absolute vengeance at the start of that game. And we saw the power shift back and forward throughout several moments in that game. How long were Darksided stuck on 3 shots left on their core?
It was so close, but in the end, it is going to be Crimson that takes the series 2-0. They will go on, I believe, to win the winner of Nomia and Darksided. Not Darksided, Milkshake and Darksided. They're going to have to drop down into the lower bracket, and we'll have to see how they go, but that is going to be the end of that one, and we'll see you next time.